What up, everybody? This is the Homie Ray, Just Ray, Bay affiliated podcast. We're out here in front of Looking Good Salon. I'm about to get the episode 9 in with my boy Manny. He just became part owner of this fine establishment located on First and Wayland. Everybody knows where it's at, right across the cat corner from Wiener Schnitzel. It's gonna be a great episode. Manny's done a lot of great things since his time barbering. He's been in the game for almost 20 years. He's been my friend for almost 15 plus years. So looking forward to the episode. Looking forward to you guys to see all the dope content we got coming. Me and Manny, not only this episode, but a lot of dope things coming on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss it. And we're out.
Oh, fuck. Put the fucking gargoyle.
Right?
Jesus.
We are live, Bay affiliated episode 9. It's the Homie Ray, Just Ray. I'm sitting down with my boy Manny. My boy Manny's someone who's been, I would say, always stayed the same, always remained himself. You know, put a plan together, put a goal together, been striving for it for 10 years plus. You know, there's been ups and downs, wins and losses, but he hasn't let that deter him from his goal, from his process. So we're gonna sit here and get the full inside scoop on just, you know, life growing up, you know, being a barber, you know, where we're at and all that good stuff. So how you doing today, my boy?
Man, you know what? I just wanted to say thank you for coming by today. God is so good and has allowed us to be here today and, you know, to make this happen. And yeah, I'm very excited for the kind of questions you can come at me with because I'm just coming at you with some straight heat today.
All right, my boy. All right. It's the first question. We're going to kick it off. You know, we're going to give the people a little bit of insight. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I know you. We grew up together.
Right.
Tony
Actually, since sixth grade. We're going to let that be known right now.
Exactly. Since sixth grade, bro. What is that? We were 11, 12?
Yeah.
So how are we, 28, 29?
Over 15 years.
Over 15 years, bro. Over a lot of the people on the podcast I've known for, you know, well over 5 years, I would say, except for the first guest, Quan. I just met Quan. Shout out to Quan. But my first question, like I said, we know each other. So tell the people where you from, where you grew up.
So I was born in San Jose. All my Gilroy natives were born in San Jose. That's because that's just where we're at.
Yeah.
You know, off of Bascom. Shout out to Bascom Hospital. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But for first and foremost, you know, I was born in San Jose, but I'm from Gilroy. You know, my parents are first generation. I'm a first generation immigrant. My parents are from Michoacan. Shout out to Jacona, Michoacan. Just letting it be out there right now.
That's right.
But I'm from Gilroy, and pretty much born and raised. You know, I always rep Gilroy, just the Gilroy capital of the world. Gilroy garlic capital of the world.
Right. Shout out to the garlic capital of the world. We got the garlic festival coming back this year,
That's
too.
That's right, yeah.
You seen that?
That's right.
We're back lit. The city's back lit. All right, so tell the people, what was it like growing up here in Gilroy? And what kind of kid would you say you were growing up in Gilroy?
You know, I always try my best to be into everything. If it was the nerdies or the athletes, or if it was just, I just try my best to be as ethnically diverse. It didn't matter if you were red, blue, green, purple. You know, I always try my best to be a good person too, because a lot of people don't really think about it, but you know, you leave a big mark on how you talk to people, and those people will remember you for that. And I like to think I was very athletic in myself. I was very just open to the idea of trying new things, and whether if it was even badminton or soccer or just anything, I would try my best to just be as openly minded to anything as possible, just like we are here today.
Exactly, bro.
And this is my first interview today, to let that be known right now.
Yeah, it's all good.
And I'm very happy to make this happen today.
No problem, bro. Me too. We've been planning this for a minute, so it's good to see it all finally come together, you know what
Absolutely.
I mean? So you said you know you're athletic, you know what I'm saying? So what sports did you play growing up?
I did a lot of wrestling, a lot of basketball.
Right, you did wrestling.
I mean, a lot of volleyball actually too.
Right, volleyball. You were into volleyball too.
A lot of running, but I think my favorite sport had to have been volleyball, bro.
Yeah, you were good at volleyball.
Hey,
bro.
that was you know, to most people they look at it as a very feminine sport, but
I do.
Yeah, no, it is. No,
Yeah,
it is very like, you know, it's mostly girls play it, but
Shout out to the volleyball girls.
Hey, but it was a sport for me that, aside from wrestling, you know, wrestling was also a very cool sport too.
Okay,
a lot of
yeah,
discipline.
yeah. Right.
And they show you have to be the best version of yourself.
Right.
Because there's only one person on that mat.
Exactly.
You know,
it's just you.
It's just you.
Yeah.
And I like team sports too, but you know, Wrestling was a cool one, bro.
That's wild, bro. I was never able, like in middle school, because our middle school, if you guys don't know, South Valley was like one of the top wrestling middle schools since it used to be a high school, you know, for like hundreds of years, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I could never get into wrestling, bro, or volleyball.
It was the singlets.
Yeah.
I'm not
it
gonna
was
be honest
the
with those
singlet,
leotards, bro. If you could wear shorts and flip a dude like a cheese omelet, it'd be
I
a
would
lot
have been
easier.
fine, you know, but I was not getting into fucking, you feel me? I couldn't do it, bro. I could not do it, bro. Like, it was not gonna happen. And then volleyball, what was the teacher? Miss Bowlby?
Yeah.
She was always like, Ray, come do volleyball, because she see me at basketball practice, you know, because she saw I could jump, and I was like, nah, I'm cool, Miss Bowlby, like, that's just for girls. But
no, for sure.
Shout out to the volleyball players, bro. They take that shit hella serious.
Yeah, no.
Overseas, bro, I went to like volleyball games that look like NBA fucking games.
Yeah,
bro. Like,
they're pretty intense.
Oh shit, it's Quan right here. Just real quick for the pod. I'm shooting the pod. Hey, that's right. Hey, I'm shooting the pod. Say something. Say something.
You with the tattoo, bro?
Nah, I'm with the other homie Manny right here, the barber.
What's happening? What's happening? How's it going? How's it going?
You
Good.
you getting it in?
Hell yeah, now I'm gonna call you. When you run on the incline or not?
Nah, I don't run on incline.
Dude, that's what I've been doing. I've been running incline for the whole mile.
The whole it's good. You need it. You fat.
Hell yeah. It's fucked up. I'm gonna remember that. All right, fool. Get to that shit.
All right, fool. Yeah, that was the homie Quan. Shout out to Quan and everyone I've already interviewed so far. So you were playing sports, volleyball and wrestling were your favorite. So tell us, what was home like growing up? You know, when you weren't at school, you know, weren't being athletic, weren't being.
So the crazy thing about my parents was that they would actually have half the year in school here and then half the other year actually in Mexico.
No way.
So most people don't really know that I would spend half my year in Michoacan.
I didn't know that at all.
And honestly, like, again, Michoacan itself is a very, very interesting place because I would like to say it in the most respectful way as possible. That's where real poverty is like out there.
Facts, yeah.
There's like, for me, whenever I see somebody out here, I'm like, this guy is not, he's not homeless, he's just lazy sometimes.
Right,
That's what I look
exactly.
at it.
Straight up.
But for me, growing up half my life in Mexico really showed me what life was like in other places of the world. And I'm just very thankful that I'm here.
Right.
In this position that I'm at
Facts,
now.
it's a blessing.
I can speak English, I can speak Spanish. That's a blessing within itself.
Yeah, you're
Because
right.
I know a lot of people that, you know, that are from there that don't have these kind of
Opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I didn't know that about you, bro. I did not know you would go to Mexico for half the year and stay in America the other half of the year.
It was like that, man. And honestly, I keep saying the word I'm very thankful because, again, Michoacan's very dangerous.
Yeah, I've heard stories. That's like where they got a lot of
things.
It's active out there.
Yeah, it's very, very.
I don't even want to speak on it on
Yeah,
camera.
no, me either.
It's active out there. It's active. Okay, but so how would you say, you know, spending half the year in Michoacan developed you as a child? You know, did it have? Was there benefits? Was there pros and cons?
I would
to it?
say the
You said,
word
what
that I'm
were the
going to
pros
use
and
is
cons?
grit.
Okay, facts.
Like you almost had to have an entrepreneur mindset because everyone in there that was there, you know, was trying to grind. You had guys making sandwiches and selling them on the street. You had ladies making, you know, just scarves and stuff with their hands. And, you know, the fact that I could come from somewhere like that and still come over here and still have the same kind of mindset, it would only push me to be the best version of myself, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That leads into my next question. I was gonna say, so, like you said, you've always had this entrepreneurial mindset coming from Michoacan and seeing how hard they work out there and just hustle to, you know, just to make ends meet.
Right.
So I was gonna ask you, when did you get into cutting hair? Because from as long as I can remember, bro, you've been fucking cutting hair.
You know, I did
since
my
middle school.
first haircut when I was 10 years old.
Oh wow, damn.
My first haircut when I was 10, and I'm gonna shout out to my uncle for letting me do this. I'll tell you the story. So my uncle wanted to go to the club, right? I was 10 years old, and he's gonna cut my hair. And I was like, sure. I gave him the crispiest chili boy haircut I could have ever come up with. At being 10 years old, my imagination was only so broad. I was like, you know, I could do this. I did it. I tore it up. That same day, I went to Walmart and I went and bought myself like a home kit care, and I was able to fix it. I did it. And ever since that point on forward, I said, if I can do this for myself, and I'm referring to being able to cut hair, it was more like an art to me, man. It was, at 10 years old, man, that first haircut, and I do that haircut now on my uncle, that same uncle. He still has a full set of hair. And I look at it and I'm like, man, I came so far.
Yeah, bro, you've been in the game for almost 20 years then. If you did your first one at 10 years old.
I'm at 18 years right now.
That's fire.
This is my 18th year cutting hair, and I can honestly say on camera, I've done over 50,000 haircuts in my life.
Over 50,000?
Over 50,000.
Damn.
And that's on paper.
That's on paper, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The government knows about those 50,000.
Right.
Yeah, Uncle Sam knows about those for sure.
Damn, that means we got about 100,000 out the book. Hey, I'm just kidding. Hey, that's crazy, bro. That's dope, bro. 50,000 is a lot, bro. Like, that's like, haircut takes like almost an hour, right? And they say you need 10,000 man hours to go pro or be a professional. So it's like you're well over. You feel me?
I feel like I've earned my.
You've earned it.
I've earned in my 10 years. I can say that I've earned my O and the OG part.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So my next question is, like, when did you, like, in these 19 years, 18 years, when did you realize, all right, this is my passion. This is not just for money, monetary gain.
Yeah.
This is like you said, you looked at it as art.
Yeah,
so like, when did you like love it?
I would say when I was like 15.
Okay.
When I was like 15 years old, when I actually, my mom took me to the beauty supply store, and she took me there, and she was like, hey, you can get whatever you want. This one's gonna be on me. And when I went in there and I got my first set of professional tools, I was able to be like, you know, this is actually really fun. And I started having this big support through all the sports that I played. All my friends were super hairy. But I call them the hairy canaries because that's what it is. These guys had big chia pet hair, and they're in the locker room looking all busted. And for me, I was just like, hey, I got clippers in my backpack. Like, let's cut it. And through things like that, I would cut the guy, and then he would bring his brother and his cousin and his nephew, and it would just be this crazy ripple effect of haircuts that just came across my way, and this passion just kind of just came to me, and like almost like in a dream.
Damn.
It was like almost like I could see in the future what I can do with this.
Right.
At a young age, I didn't really, and I'm gonna let this be known too. When I was 10, up until maybe I was like 17, I was only charging like $5 for a haircut now.
Facts.
$5.
I remember, bro.
$5.
The homie was telling me like, Ray, let me cut your hair. Ray, let me cut your hair. And at that time, I was still just going to Benny, you know? I was like, I can't, you know? Or I was even probably going to Cam in San Jose with my older brother.
Yeah.
And then you used to always be like, Ray, let me cut your hair. Let me cut your hair. And I never let you do it.
And
it wasn't until I was like old, like grown, that I let you cut my hair, bro.
And I would always get told no.
Yeah, in fact, I remember.
All the time.
I remember.
People used to always say no to me all the time. And did it discourage me? Nah. I was just like, I'm gonna ask the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy, until somebody's gonna say yes. I'm gonna ask 100 guys, and at least one of them is gonna say yeah. And for me, I would take that opportunity to be like, I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna sharpen the iron. I'm gonna chip my way at this, and I'm gonna figure it out.
And that's what it takes, bro. It comes back to what you talked about, the grit, bro. Because like going after any goal, going after anything, bro. There's gonna be people that say no, and you can fucking look at that as like an L, or you can look at that as like a lesson to get better and do it the right way the next time.
And to be honest with you, all those no's made this possible.
Right.
Exactly. This whole dream, this whole idea, like, I don't know how many people would say like, oh, haircutting, that's not a job.
Right.
You can't make no money off of that. And I never did it for the money. I did it for more of just the communication. I know what it takes to make someone feel better.
Right.
One hairline at a time.
Right.
And I know what that kind of confidence that kind of gives for a man to get a nice haircut. I get guys, and I always say this, I always set them free.
Right, exactly.
I set them free, and they start doing all kinds of stuff that they didn't have planned that day.
Yeah.
Some guys walk around Target for a couple hours. And sometimes they just want to just be seen, and that kind of energy for me. And when they text me, say, "Hey, man, you know what? I feel unstoppable." I love that.
That's fire, bro.
That makes me feel great about my job,
bro.
Man.
And he's giving out free game, fellas. If you're looking for him, go to Target.
Yeah.
That's free game.
You might find your wife there.
That's free game. But that's exactly how I feel about my workout stuff, bro. That's why, like, it's not about the money. It's about that feeling you know how to give yourself from giving yourself a crispy line. I want all my people to feel that feeling, like when it comes to how I've made myself feel from the gym, and eating healthy and eating right, bro. Because like you said, it does a lot for a man, bro.
Big.
Like, and and like we're at a pivotal point right now in life for men, in my opinion.
And right now we're hitting to that point where we're almost 30.
Yeah.
And that point of that check engine light might be turning on for most people.
Yeah.
But health, I would like to incorporate it with just how you look and then how you feel.
Exactly.
It's just this big old thing of that. No one likes to talk about this kind of
Look
stuff.
good, play good, bro.
Man.
It's a number one rule of sports, bro.
Absolutely.
I need to have my bands. I need to have my wristband. I
Everything.
need to have everything right. I gotta run for 250 today.
Absolutely.
Like, how am I gonna do that if I look bad? You know what I mean?
And once you have yourself looking and feeling good, that 250 yards that looks, I'm already there.
Exactly.
I already did it.
Exactly. That's why I liked how you said you set them free. Like my term is like I wake them up. You know what I mean? Like you see life differently when you're on that vibration, like feeling good, looking good. You know what I mean? You're not living it the same, right? So that leads me to the next question. So you said you got the entrepreneurial spirit from Michoacan. So you would say you've always had this entrepreneurial spirit?
I would say that I got that from my dad.
Okay.
You know, my old man, his thought process of how to make something out of nothing was incredible. And for me, you know, I lost my old man at 17, and I know that, you know, whether it's on camera or not, I know you lost your old man too. And that kind of motivation for somebody only knows what that feels like until you have to go through it.
Yeah, bro. It changes you.
It kind of changes that gear in your head. It clicks.
Everything clicks.
It's almost like you can kind of see it, but you just have to just do it.
Exactly, and that's crazy you say that because like when I was doing the pod with Josue and he talked about losing his
mom,
his mother, and he said because he was way younger than both of us, and
right,
he said
right.
it clicked then for him,
right.
And then you said it clicked, and for me when I lost my dad at 24, like everything was clicking, boom.
Right.
It all made sense.
And it's
now,
scary,
you know?
because you're almost left by yourself.
Yeah,
and,
bro.
And all you're left with is with your thoughts and your
thoughts and memories.
And those kind of memories would only be there for you as fuel.
Exactly.
And it's a big fuel. And it's a kind of feel that you only know what it feels like until you go through it.
Exactly. You don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to explain, bro.
It's a feeling that, again, you only know about it when you go through it.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't wish that upon anybody.
No one.
So if I could say this on camera, if you still have your parents around, love them, appreciate them, take care of them, because you never know, you know, when God has His time to make it happen.
You know, and I swear, bro, ever since then, it's like put this fire in me, because like you said, you're left alone a little bit, you know? Especially if you're, depending on the dynamic of your family. I don't know about you, but we have a lot of women.
Right.
You know what I mean? In my family. So it's like when my dad, like, I'm next up.
Yeah.
And then my brother, he's gone too, so I'm next up, bro.
Right.
And it's like after that, it's like there's no more of these kid games, bro.
Right.
Just playing around, like in every aspect. You know what I mean? So
it almost had to make you mature. I mean,
you have to.
For me, I lost him when I was 17.
Right.
So when I was in high school, my senior year,
right.
I lost my old man, and he actually I have 3 older sisters, and he actually wanted all 3 of my sisters to do hair.
Oh,
and they all said no.
That's crazy.
They're like, I don't want to.
No
for
way.
whatever reason it's worth.
Wow.
But I ended up telling him, like, hey, I want to do hair. He was like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And he would bring me a bunch of actually homeless people from, you know, like downtown.
Yeah.
Say, hey, my son needs practice. Come and, you know.
Damn,
he was
that.
just a big believer in what I had going on. And, you know, God is so good that just allowed me to have him for as many years as I did.
Facts,
He was
bro.
very good, and I've always been very thankful to have the hairiest family members that he would just push my way.
Facts, bro.
Cousins, nephews, uncles. It was just never-ending support from that guy.
Facts, bro. Shout out to all the dads out there, bro.
For making it happen.
You feel me? The ones here, the ones that are gone, bro. Like the dad, the male figure in the life of a man or any child, bro, is so important. So
super important.
Shout out to all the dads, bro. So I'm gonna ask, like, how, I know it doesn't matter,
right,
you know, but I know there's some people you do care about their opinions, like your loved ones,
right,
your support, your community.
Right.
So how do your peers feel about you being, you know, working for yourself? Because I don't know about you, I feel like it rubs some people the wrong way, you know, once they realize, like, damn, I coulda, shoulda, woulda, you know?
I think the only people that I really try to seek guidance with is probably my mom.
Right.
She's the only one left that I have left, and probably, you know, the conversations that I have with God too. I think those are the only 2 people that I right now am seeking towards if any kind of validation, because I don't really look for validation through social media. And I know social media, a lot of people post stuff to kind of get, I know, to get them feel like, I'm the best or this and that.
Right.
I think my peers are very supportive.
Facts.
I think I have a very good support system.
Facts.
Throughout the years, you kind of have to go through life and kind of, remove certain things that aren't being valuable. Again, there's assets and liabilities.
Right.
Right? It's also, are you going to have people in your life that are assets, or you're going to have them in your life that are liabilities?
Right.
And I like to think the people that I've had in my life so far has been so good to me and have been trying their best to make sure that I don't fail too.
Right.
Is there going to be hate? Absolutely.
Always.
Always.
We love it though.
But I love the fact that it just motivates me to be the best version of me.
Facts.
Because this whole journey for me has been always focused on my lane.
Right.
I don't look at the next guy. I look at my lane. I'm on cruise control right now.
Facts.
I feel great. I feel really good.
That's good, bro. That's good. Because, like, when you're working for yourself or chasing a goal, you feel me? Like, you're only going to get so far. It's only going to get as much out of it as much as you put in, right? And it comes to, like, the support. You're only going to get as much support as you, like, pay attention to. You feel me? Like, because, like you said, you got to be
scary.
in your own lane. You got to have tunnel vision. And it's like, if you focus on the support, that's all you're going to feel. But if you focus on the hate, you know what I mean? That's all you're going to feel. You know what I'm saying?
If I learn any kind of advice from a lot of the old timers that I learned, they say, man, you almost have to be like a racehorse. Racehorses have these little things like this.
They can't see, yeah.
And they can't see anything else passing their peripheral vision because they want to be focused on there.
Right.
Because if you're looking, if your vision is not here and you're looking out what's on the side of you, you're more worried about what the competition is doing.
Exactly.
And I try my best to kind of put myself in a position where I'm racehorse in my own lane.
Exactly.
In my own path.
That's fire, bro. So would you say you find creativity in cutting hair? Is it like, because you said it's like art?
It's an art. Yeah, I almost feel like the hair is my canvas. It's like a big canvas for me.
Okay.
Sometimes people come in with these crazy expectations and they come in with all these different
Ideas,
flavors,
yeah.
and I have to be able to creatively like just use my my brain to shape and mold and form and sometimes do the most creative things with hair, because hair is like plastic. And I like to say this, when you heat it up with heat, it can get really bendy, a lot of flow, a lot of movement.
Yeah.
And when I'm in that zone, it almost feels like almost like a Picasso.
Okay.
And if I could put a signature at the end of every haircut, almost like a stamp, like from the movie Barbershop, and put a stamp on it so let everybody know that I did this, because I almost like to think that my art is like my walking billboard.
Right, it
is.
is.
When I have a guy out and about, when I set him free, like when I say that, he walks around and people look at him and they be like, "Oh, that guy looks nice."
Yeah.
And for me, my art is it's my work, man.
Yeah.
And I get to incorporate videography, I get to incorporate photography, I get to incorporate sometimes paint and different flavors, designs, and I get to be as free as I can. After all these years, people just sit in my chair and say, "Hey, Manny, go ahead.
Okay.
Do whatever you want."
That's a good way to look at it. I got a friend who does, he's a barber as well, and like, that's exactly how he looks at it. He uses it as a way to express himself creatively. You know what I mean? So that's fire. I was gonna ask, when did you notice, you were creative? Because you've been cutting hair since 10.
Right.
Was that the thing that sparked it? Like, I'm like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I kind of noticed that I couldn't draw.
Okay.
I can't draw.
Right.
I can't. My brother, he does murals, he does paintings, he does all these different things. But for me, the hair is my canvas.
Right. Okay.
So I'm able to. I would say around like 15, I was able to be a little more creative because I feel like my frontal lobe was developing a little bit more, and I was able to kind of see people's almost like look in the future in a way.
Right. Okay.
With hair. Yeah.
That's a fire perspective. Would you say you're creative in any other ways outside of cutting hair?
No.
No?
And I'm okay with that.
It's fine, yeah.
And because I like to think that, let's use LeBron James as an example.
Right.
He only plays basketball. Can he play other things? Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think that I'm good at other things, but right now, if I was going to say haircutting is I'm devoted to it.
Right. And it's funny you say that because, like, you're super entrepreneurial. And, like,
right.
For me, like, when I look at being an entrepreneur, like, it's like one of the most creative things ever. You know what I mean? Because, like, you got to figure out the next way to scale, the next way to market, the next way to, get more clients, the next way to, I need more space, you know what I mean? Like, and it's all comes from your brain, they're just ideas that are nothing.
Right.
And you got to figure out the work, the plan, and you got to execute it,
Facts.
So being an entrepreneur, bro, is super creative, bro, because you literally turn something, out of nothing,
Yeah.
bro. Just like drawing, just like cutting
Sure.
hair, just like painting, bro. So
And I think that's the next part in this phase of my life, where now instead of just cutting hair so much, like you said, now I'm trying my best to be as creative with the business.
right, exactly.
Like you're right. Yeah. No, business is.
It's the same
you'd be
thing.
really creative.
You gotta blend it now. You feel
Yeah.
me?
Now it's gonna be a big old just. The word I'm using is a concoction of just different flavors of your life and aspect to kind of make something in your own version of what
Exactly. Make your own brand, make your own network, whatever you're trying to create, right? And that leads to the next question. Tell the people where we're at.
it is. Okay, so
How do we get here?
I'm in Gilroy, California. Yeah, this is Looking Good Salon. The opportunity presented itself, and now I'm here. And in the process of, I'm actually getting a barber school built this year. And with that being said, you know, having a franchise of barber shops, salons, barber supply stores, barber schools, that's something that I'm looking for, you know, in my life.
That's the ultimate goal, right?
That is the goal.
To turn it to a complete brand / chain type thing.
And
right?
I like to think that the hair industry last year made like around $26 billion.
Jesus.
26 billion. And I think I could just chip away at maybe like a 1 or 2% of that.
Right? That's all we need.
And I can sleep at night with that
That's
one.
all. That's all we need. Just 1 or
Yeah.
2% of the beat.
I mean, again, coming from Michoacan, you know, you see what real poverty is like.
right.
Real poverty. And that, again, that only motivates me to want to hit that 1%.
To do the most you can.
To make it happen.
Yeah. You're good. You're good. You're good. See, we're in real time here. We're in real time, people.
The salon's working. But we're at Looking Good Salon today in Gilroy, California. And I just want to be able to just to say that if you ever need your hair braided or hair done, this is the place. The best salon in Gilroy, no cap.
You're good. Pause.
Pause.
All right. So, well, you already asked this. You already answered this question. So it's basically like you were destined to work for yourself, destined to own your own business, like
Yeah.
destined to be a boss, right? Is that how you look at it?
Again, yeah. My dad, I would consider him to be an entrepreneur too. And if you ask me what he did for a living, he would go and junk removal. He would, you know, do cardboard pickups. He would do scrap metal, and seeing him, he would always tell me like, hey, sometimes like this isn't garbage. Like we just have to find a way to how to flip this into something.
Right.
And a lot of that entrepreneurship came from him. Seeing him be able to put a whole idea together of how to make this happen and get the bills paid, that was very impressive to me.
Okay.
Seeing him be able to do that, and I get my entrepreneurship from him.
Okay.
And I like to use him as a beacon of how I can make this happen.
Right. That's kind of the same way I feel about my dad, bro. Like he's a beacon of hope or a beacon of what is possible because he
Right.
showed me, like when it comes to talking and presenting myself and like the whole business aspect of things, like and actually why I do what I do, all comes from him, bro. So
Yeah.
that's fire. I wanted to ask, now that you, like you said, you've put in your 50,000 clients, you put in your time, you've earned your O
Right.
in the OG. Like, what do you feel like your responsibility is as an OG, not only in the barber industry, but just
Right.
as like a man in general? You
I
know
would
what
say
mean?
that when I first started cutting hair, it was lame. Cutting
It
hair
was
was
lame.
boring.
It was
Nobody,
lame.
nobody. I mean, there was a couple people that would cut hair here and there, and
Yeah.
it wasn't as like
Polarized.
everybody wants to cut hair now.
Yeah.
You know, actually, this year, hair cutting has been the #1 fastest growing profession of 2024.
Okay.
It had an increase of over 10%, meaning that if you put it over a retrospect, it being the fastest growing, you know, industry like that, that's crazy. And me being from a generation where it wasn't cool,
Right.
like it wasn't like nobody, you're a barber, but yeah, whatever, you
Right.
cut hair.
It was just a thing you
It
did.
was just a thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I like to think now my goal is to not gatekeep.
Facts.
Why would I keep this information to myself when I could just share it to people that could also use it? And if they can do it, I can do it.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it.
Right.
When I first started cutting hair, I would get kicked out of barbershops. I used to try to go in there and be like, hey, can I learn? And they used to be like, nah, get out of here. Go to school. Go do something else. But I
Yeah.
wanted to cut hair and I wanted to learn. I didn't have any YouTube. I didn't have any of these outlets that I had. But my goal now is to be able to just to teach those that want to be taught the game.
Facts. And that's what it's all about, bro. You can only keep all the shit you got by giving it away, bro.
And I want to be able to do that.
And that's what it's all about.
And I'm bilingual, so I don't just get hit with a lot of people that speak English. I get with a lot of people that speak Spanish.
Right.
And a lot of those immigrants, when I come over here, they don't want to just be doing field work and working construction.
Yeah,
that's
fact.
very, very. I mean, I've seen my whole life, all my family have to go through that. But cutting hair, again, it's an art. If you get a lot of like-minded individuals together and you put them in a shop and you teach them the right stuff that they need to do and run it as a business and how to make money, pay taxes, and do it right, man, they could change their lifestyle significantly.
Their lifestyle and their lifestyle of their family. You know,
man,
what I mean?
It is crazy, and I've been able to do that. I've been able to just change my lifestyle and through cutting hair.
That's dope.
That's
bro.
it, just cutting hair. I've never had another job other than that.
That's dope.
Other than when I was 15. When I was 15, I worked at Taco Bell.
I think I remember that.
To be able to 6 months of just be able to save my money and then buy a bunch of tools, and I was like, right, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm locked in.
That's fire, bro. I
But
think
that's
I only
my
had
goal.
one job myself too at 15. Besides the job I got now,
Right.
at 15. But besides that, I was just trapping. But
Sure.
that's fire, bro. That's fire.
Just
dude.
cutting hair. Cutting hair has always been there for me, and I've always had the hairiest friends and hairiest clients. that has again that's allowed me to keep the lights on in the building.
Facts. That's real,
You know?
bro. That's real, bro.
I'm talking the hairiest friends, bro. These guys, man.
You keep fucking repeating that. It's killing me. What do you think the difference is with the haircutting game now and back in the day, and what do you prefer?
Okay, so when I started cutting hair back in the day, the haircuts were $16 a haircut.
Yeah, they were.
Like in a barbershop setting.
Yeah, they were.
Right?
I
It was
remember those days.
very inexpensive. People used to come in once a week, get their haircuts in. Now, the actual price in the whole United States average is $45 for a haircut. That is the consensus. That is what the math is.
That's what the data says.
That is what the data says, yeah. And I used to actually like the fact that people used to be able to come in and walk in to come get their haircut. Because you didn't know who was coming in.
Right.
You don't know if it was, Uncle here or, your cousin or your friend. Or they would just come in and they knew you were going to be there.
Yeah.
Right? Now it's all appointment-based. Every guy's trying to charge a hefty penny for it. I like the way it was back in the day. I was always very happy with people walking in and seeing the whole bench filled with people. But I know that sometimes something like that isn't as efficient as possible. If you can't cut hair fast, people are sitting there in that bench.
For a while.
2, 3, 4 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
Now
I
it's all
remember those days.
it's appointment based now.
Yeah.
That's the cool part.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes now, I think what barbers are lacking is they're lacking structure. They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to. They don't want to pay a booth rent. They don't want to have to go through all these responsibilities anymore. I don't feel like they almost don't take it seriously. I think that's why I like the way the game used to be back in the day. Because now, I used to take it very seriously. Now, they do it because they're like, oh, I'm going to charge $50 for a haircut.
Yeah, it's like a money grab.
Now it's 100% money. It's all about, and again, I understand that every business is all about finances,
Yeah.
It's all, but I think that if you're going to be a barber first starting out, keep your prices low. Stack your clientele, get them right. Understand how the game works. Get them in the right position to trust you. People are coming in from barber schools and going straight to barbershops charging $50 a haircut.
That's crazy.
It took me almost 18 years to do that.
Yeah, see, that's wild.
But see, now-
That's some perspective right there.
But for me, I'm able to say I can charge $100 for a haircut.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, I charge $100 for a haircut.
A C note.
100.
A hundunny. A hundiddy.
And I know to some people they're like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I get it. But my clientele, after all these 18 years of doing that, I've managed to put myself in positions with a lot of business owners.
Right.
And business owners that have to look good all the time. They need to be in the best, just visual, just.
Right. They got to look good.
They got to
play
look good. And
Yeah.
they're shaking a lot of hands with a lot of these big business owners and stuff like that. And it's all about your clientele. I don't really cut a lot of high schoolers and stuff like that no more. Again, I'm usually I get to pick and choose now who I want my clientele to be.
Right.
And I want people that are going to pay me for my time.
Yeah.
It's not, I guess it's about what I know now.
Exactly. It's an
You know?
experience too. Like,
Yeah.
break down what comes with the haircut by Manny.
So my haircut just comes with the most dissected consultation that you can kind of come up with. I'm talking about everything.
Okay.
What you like, what you don't like, what your preferences are, what the last guy did. Let's talk about your goals with your hair. you know? And then once I'm cutting the hair itself, once the clippers turn on, it's game time. But while the haircut's being done, I'm also like talking to you. It comes with therapy. My haircuts come with therapy.
Facts.
Sometimes people come at me with all these different things in their life. My first client might come at me with, hey, my mom just died. The next guy might come at me, hey, I just got an interview today, my new job. The next guy said, hey, I have a beautiful date today. I'm talking about different flavors of therapy that I'm coming at with my clients and different parts of their life that they're hitting me with. The haircut comes with, like I said, the therapy and then the service, right? I do the haircut, everything's clean. That's the biggest thing, is cleanliness.
Facts.
The peace of mind knowing that you're gonna get the best haircut of your life, but you're not gonna get no bumps or lumps or cucarachas from the last guy, of course.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember you pulling up with the face guard during the COVID, during the house calls, bro.
The pandemic was scary.
Yeah.
And after
Gloves
the
and
haircut,
everything.
man. But to get back to the whole point of the service, I also do a facial treatment. I also do a hair wash too. So when I do the hair in the wash and the facial treatment, it's a eucalyptus mask with a vitamin C foaming cleanser, and I do the hot towel, the face massage, and that myself already puts me in a different
category.
Nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
They don't want to touch nobody's faces. They don't want to do this. But to me, I don't look at it like that.
Right.
I know that my client's going to feel sensational when they're done with this haircut.
Facts.
You know, I know that.
Yeah, that's for sure worth the 100.
For sure.
I'd do it.
And it's the whole, and after that, it's like, I also have a cologne bar, so sometimes I'll put a little YSL, a little Baccarat 540 or whatever it may be, to my clients to give them.
You got that Baccarat?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
You got to.
I need that.
That's a tax write-off.
That's right.
That's a tax write-off.
Write that one off.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
That's what's up.
But I think that, like you were tapping on the whole COVID thing, that really changed the gear in the barber industry, was the pandemic. I feel like everybody had to almost either cut their own hair or
let it grow.
Or let it grow out. And I took that, and I took that pandemic super seriously because haircutting was illegal for a moment. Like, you weren't allowed to cut. Like,
I remember that.
Yeah, it was scary.
It was wild.
But I think that if you could make it through the pandemic as a barber, you can make it through anything.
Facts.
For sure.
Yeah, that's wild, bro. Like, and I would say, like, since the pandemic, honestly, like, it forced business owners and people offering a service to get creative, you know what I mean? A lot of things, we realized we didn't need to go to school for 5 days a week.
Totally.
You know, we could do that shit online.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of businesses since then have either scaled up or, cut expenses and continue to scale. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Found new business models that could, increase their income or increase their gross income for the year based off some shit they learned during the pandemic.
I mean, for me, the pandemic, that's where I was actually able to charge and feel comfortable at charging about $100 for a haircut.
Because you're breaking the law, look.
Man, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I had to go to people's houses dressed like almost in a hazmat suit.
Yeah,
gloves and everything. I had to do the face shield, the 2 masks. 2 masks, come on now. Dude, that was crazy. Gloves, I had to almost double glove up. I was even changing my shoes from coming in at a client's houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a crazy experience, but that did definitely change the gear for me too.
Facts.
Was the pandemic.
Facts.
And I feel like a lot of people, there's so many barbers that came out of the pandemic wanting to cut hair because they did it at home. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty cool for me to see.
That's fire. Yeah, like the pandemic changed a lot for everyone. And some positive, some negative.
Right.
But,
and I feel bad for the business owners that couldn't make it through the pandemic. It was very, very just difficult time at the time. But I'm thankful that we're here now.
Exactly. Everything happens the way it should.
Absolutely.
Things. There's no coincidences. Things aren't ironic. Fucking Rob, my bad. But things aren't ironic. There's no coincidences. But we're getting to the end. Is there anything you want to let the people know, your followers or, people you got out there looking up to you or family members or anything like that?
I guess the best advice that I can give anybody is stay true to yourself. People are always going to just say things and put things into retrospect. But, if I could say this online, an opinion's like an asshole. People, they stink and people have them, right? But don't let that dictate how you're going to live your life. And I just want everyone to kind of put themselves in a position of being uncomfortable sometimes.
Facts.
Because sometimes when you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, it's about growth.
Literally.
And I want everybody to try to grow at least a day at a time and just be thankful. Instead of, I just try my best to change my perspective of saying I have to do something, I get to do it.
Exactly.
Like I get to go to the gym, I get to cut hair.
Right.
You know, instead of saying, oh, I have to.
Right.
You know?
That changes everything. That shifts the perspective.
And I think that if I could say anything else to my young followers right now is stay hungry and don't be complacent with just being comfortable.
Right.
Always try to strive and be the best version of yourself because no one's going to do that for you. The only person that could do it is yourself, you know? You got to put yourself in a position to be a big boss and want to be that big boss. And at the end of the day, all of this is to take care of your family. That's it. You know? You got to just take care of your family, honestly. This is all this is about, is to take care of your family.
Literally, take care of your people, take care of your community. That's the life cycle of a man. You know what I mean? And with that being said, let the people know where they can follow you. And
so my Instagram is at Manny_Mex101. Again, my full name is EMMANUEL SALCIDO. You'll be seeing a lot me more often. We're gonna be, me and Ray are gonna be in the social media. We're gonna just lock in on the whole social media aspect of the internet, and they're gonna be seeing a lot more often of us, man.
Definitely.
I'm super excited for this opportunity, and yeah, this is gonna be a good one.
Thank you, my boy. It's been great, bro.
God is so good.
Yes, sir. Bless. Bay Affiliated, episode 9. Me and my boy Manny, we're in the newly owned salon. What's the name again?
Looking Good Salon.
Looking Good Salon. I get my hair done here every other day by Jazz. Jazz, you want to get on camera?
Looking like this.
Jazz over there in the cut. She ain't trying to get on camera, but she be hooking me up. You feel me? She got a competition tonight. We got Rob outside. He on the phone. We're going to have a good rest of our day. Pound that like button, pound that subscribe button. Follow my boy Manny. Follow me at StayDownFit_Ray, RAYE, at Bay Affiliated. And we are out.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
What?
I've been waiting to say this all fucking show. I thought that was you. Huh? I thought that was you.
Me? What?
No.
No, but I thought you were gonna rock it the whole time.
No, that's too heavy.